Yeah? You like Christmas? You like Christmas time? You want to go outside? You don't? All right.
Hi everybody, my name is Seth Cowan and I just wanted to give my testimony for Jesus Christ, and I just want to let you guys know that on Friday the 13th of May in 2016 I passed away from something called a widowmaker heart attack. It's a main blockage of your main artery and only 10% of people live from it. 90% of people die. But I was one of the 10% that lived, and nobody would help me. When I told them I was having a heart attack, they thought I was joking. No, you're too young to have a heart attack. One of the people I asked for help even said, "Oh, I'm having a heart attack, ha ha ha," and hung up the phone on me. So, that was my first experience. Was something got me out of that house when I was so weak I couldn't even dress myself. I was so weak I couldn't even walk. And something got me out of that house, dialed the phone, got me. This is all vague. I don't even really remember dialing 911. I don't even really remember getting down the stairs. All I remember is at the bottom of the stairs I was sitting there in like boxer shorts and a tank top, not realizing, I didn't even get dressed. And on top of that, I had ripped one of my fingernails off, and I don't know how that happened either. I got from my bedroom down to the road, and I'm not exactly sure. It was all hazy how it even happened. But as soon as I get down there, as soon as I come back to consciousness, the ambulance was pulling up. So I get in the ambulance, and that was the second experience I had. Was a man by the name of David LaSalvia, who he's my paramedic, and this guy's touched by God for sure, because I've never had anybody tell me I'm having the worst event of my life and calm me down at the same time. This guy's touched by God. He's a paramedic that's meant to be helping people, and he calmed me down in the middle of a horrible heart attack, and I was dying. I died in the ambulance, passed away, flatlined, and saw a white light. And actually, while this is all going down, I can actually hear the paramedic David yelling at me, saying, Seth, what's your pain? The first thing he said was, what was your pain level on a scale of 1 to 10? When I didn't respond a couple times, he says, Seth, stay with me. And then I heard him arguing with the driver, who was a girl by the name of Jessica Belshi. She saved my life possibly 2 times because of her fast driving. But I'd just like to give a shout out to David and Jessica. Thank you guys for saving my life. I really appreciate that. God bless you guys. So, I started seeing a white light while he's telling me, Seth, stay with me, Seth, stay with me. And the first thing I noticed is I got scared knowing that I was dying. And I saw that light, and everything just went away, and I felt better. And I felt calm and relaxed, and I felt like I didn't see him physically, but there was a white veil. That's what I can say. I didn't see a tunnel. I didn't see any of that stuff. I saw a pure white light that was so bright, but I could look right into it. It was like a shop light, but 100 times brighter, but it didn't hurt your eyes. And I'm looking straight into it, and I'm like wondering what's on the other side of that, kind of like, what's on the other side of that? There's got to be something on the other side, but it was veiled is the best way I could describe it. That white light was the veil that kept me from entering heaven or whatever that other side was. I didn't know, but it was a white veil, and I could feel presences. This is another thing that's hard to explain is I didn't hear voices. I didn't hear something telling me, Seth, I didn't hear that. No, it was a download of like instant information. It was like, boom, and I just knew all these things, like, boom, everyone you know and love is right here. Boom, here's your buddy, here's your dog who just passed away 10 days before you had your heart attack, which I think that stress kind of helped lead to my heart attack from me losing my best friend. But he was one of the first souls that I felt the presence of, was my dog Blue. And I just knew there was this other presence I couldn't pinpoint as a friend or family. But I swear I felt like he was my absolute best friend that I had ever met. He was my absolute best friend. And I never got his name really. I was just like, oh, hey, what's up, buddy? You're my absolute best friend, you know? Who are you, you know? I know who you are. You know who I am. But I didn't say his name, and he didn't say my name, but it was Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ himself, who was my friend. And so I started, once I felt that feeling of peace, and I wanted to stay there. I didn't want to come back to whatever I was doing here. And I remember kind of arguing. This is another portion of my testimony, is a lot of my memory was kind of blanked. I don't remember every detail. One thing I do remember is kind of arguing at the end. Like, well, oh, come on, you know, like I've written Christian music and I've done this and that, and I was kind of stating my case, you know, come on, don't send me back there, come on. And this is when I heard the first actual audible words of my experience, and I was coming back to earth as I heard it. But I started coming back into my body as I was arguing, please let me stay, please let me stay. And then I heard, no, not yet. I heard the words, no, not yet. And that just tripped me out. And like, even though it's so simple and such an easy thing to understand, that those three words have been like so profound in my life, and they've changed my life. Like, I live in a different fashion now because I want to be a Christian, because I want to do Christian music, because I want to do things that in a Christian level that I've never even fathomed before. When I used to write music, I wrote music about pot and getting high and freaking hanging out with your homies and getting drunk and getting laid, and that's what I wrote music about. But after my experience, I was like, oh, I'm gonna write good music with positive messages, and if it doesn't mention something about the Bible, it's gonna mention a philosophy of the Bible. So this is my new mission, is to write Christian music for God, and to just give my testimony. Someone challenged me to do this, and I was like, hey, I have a near-death experience, and it's real, and I'd like to share it myself, because who knows, if I have another heart attack tomorrow and I don't tell you guys that Jesus Christ is real, I'm going to feel real bad about it, and he ain't going to like it either. So, and that's why this is my job, to testify for Jesus, to testify on behalf of my friend Jesus, to testify on behalf of my Lord and Savior Jesus, and to play music and shout praises to him in a positive way. So I just want to tell everyone I love them. I don't care how much you hate me, I love you. And in Jesus Christ, I just want to say thank you, and thanks for listening. God bless you.
Hey, so I wanted to make a YouTube video just kind of to share something that happened with me when I was younger. This is going back all the way in 2010. So in 2010, I was at this party. And to kind of make a long story short, I had a near-death experience. And okay, I'm just going to introduce myself kind of so you know me. Before this happened, I went to church maybe a few times, when I was younger. I was kind of connected to believing, maybe there was something. I don't know. This book says there is, this church says there is. People say there's something else besides us, but for the most part, you just kind of never know, And so what happened was on February 20th, 2010, I was at this party, regular party, and basically one thing led to another, and I ended up dying at this party. I had a seizure in the kitchen. So from other people's point of view, this is what happened. I'm in the kitchen, I have a seizure. Okay, I'm down on the ground, people are surrounding me, and everyone's saying, oh my gosh, like, is she dead, is she dead? That's what their version was. I didn't see that version. Well, I did kind of, I'll tell you. My version of what happened was I was standing in the hallway, and I saw, you know, yellow caution tape right in the kitchen. So I look, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is there yellow caution tape? So I walk down the hall into the kitchen, and I see like this big group of people standing there, and then they're all in a circle. I'm like, what are they looking at? Like, what's going on? So I look down into the circle, and I'm at a party. I'm supposed to be, you know, having a good time, but like there's now caution tape, and I'm like, what is going on? I look down into the circle, and I'm in the middle of the circle, and everybody's staring at me, and my body is laying on the ground. And then I am like, whoa. So I try to like maybe communicate with people, or no one can really hear me. I look down, my body's not there, like I have no body. And I'm just like, what is going on? You know, like this is just crazy. So like I'm kind of scared. Well, not scared, but I'm like, okay, obviously I died. You know, I just knew at that moment, like nobody can hear me. I'm not supposed to be here anymore. So in that second I realized, okay, I'm dead. I look up. All of a sudden in the kitchen, I see this like huge white light coming from the ceiling to the floor. And it's just like, boom. And it's right there. And I just knew like, okay, that's home. Like that's where I'm supposed to go. So I had nowhere really else to go. No one was talking to me. I had no body. So I just like naturally moved into the light. So I went into the light. And as I was moving up into the light, I just started to feel so good. You know, like words can't explain it. Like the higher that I went into the light, and the more that I moved up and further away from Earth, the better I felt. And the feeling of pleasure does not really apply to this Earth. Like, nothing can compare. Like, if you took everything that you were in favor of, like maybe getting a massage in a hot tub, your favorite music, your favorite food, your favorite drink, everything that you love happening to you all at once, no matter what it is, all at once, it would not even closely compare to the pleasure that was just within that light. And as you moved further into, like further away from this earth, the pleasure felt even better. So you just moved up, it felt better and better. It was insane. So anyways, as I'm moving, like as I'm going up into the light, like you could just tell you're moving up, I look to my side, and like the dark was disappearing. So as I looked to the side, like the earth turned into blackness. So the earth kind of turned into black matter, and like all the objects and everything just kind of turned into this dark blackness. And then all of a sudden, as you're moving up into the light, which is white, right? Whitish light, the black starts disappearing. So all the black goes away because the light's taking it. And then the craziest thing was when I looked behind me, like all the way behind me from where I came from, I saw Earth, and Earth was like, it would be like you standing up and looking down and seeing like an ant on the ground. Like our entire universe was the size of an ant. Like it just made you realize how insignificant this life is. And, you know, we're only on this earth for a short period of time. But after this period of time, there's an eternal life that we have to live. And I don't think many people know that, you know, or many people believe it. I mean, I wasn't really sure. I didn't really like 100% maybe believe it before this happened. And then after this happened, I was like, whoa, you know, there is a place you go. And yeah, it's important for people to know that. So anyways, I saw this, and then it disappeared. So now I'm completely up in this light, and I see my whole life like flash before my eyes, and I feel like amazing. I don't go any further, it's just light. But I saw my whole life like flash before my eyes. Every person I knew, everything I experienced, like I don't know how it happened that fast, but I got to see my entire life all at once. And I honestly looked at my life, and I felt like a complete failure. I felt like I had lived one big selfish life, which was only directed to myself. And I never helped anybody on this planet, or I never gave anything. Like, I mean, to a substantial amount. Like, really, I just felt like I lived a life that was, I guess now I know the terminology, but like worldly, you know. Um, so that kind of like it was weird because there was that one disappointment up there. So that was kind of strange. Just to look at my whole life, like that seems so big on earth. Like my life was so important, my friends, my clothes, like all this stuff was like huge priority here. And then when you get up there, you look at it and you're like, it's kind of funny because you realize how small this planet is and how insignificant, like, your big life really is. It's just funny. But anyways, moving past this point. So what happened was, as I looked through my life, another thing happened. My dog at that time popped out of, like, it almost looked like, Mac Computer, similar to Mac Computer, where like everything flashes, like it kind of looked like that. So everything's like flashing, and sorry, that's my dog drinking water. And he's still drinking water. Everything flashed before my eyes, and then my dog popped out. Okay, my dog popped out, and then this girl popped out, and like like I already felt so much love, but this overwhelming feeling of like love when I looked at my dog. It wasn't really a picture, it was just like my dog kind of, and then this girl, these overwhelming feelings of love came to me. And this girl was a friend. She was really close with me. And yeah. So, and my dog I cared about so much. So I really cared about these things. I felt like maybe I couldn't just leave these behind. So what I said was, it naturally came out. Like, I didn't have a body at that time. So it came through my mind. Like, I spoke through my mind. Just like when you talk to yourself in your head. But it was like the only thing I could hear. It was like amplified. So it would be louder than my voice talking through my mouth, but through my mind, amplified. It was really weird. And then, so I basically said, I'm not ready to go. Yeah, I said, I'm not ready to go. And then this voice, which was God, you just know. It's like this very familiar voice that almost, to me, what it sounded like was like the tone of everybody else's voice. It was like, this is the voice almost, and then each of us have like a different pitch, lower or higher. And like this was like the voice for all. And we all have like voices stemming off this voice. That's kind of what, it was so familiar to me, and I can't get over it. But the next thing too is when I said I'm not ready to leave, or I'm not ready to go, or whatever, even though I wanted to be up there, I couldn't leave behind my life at that time. So the voice said to me, if you want to live, show it. And then the minute I said okay, boom, it was like back out of the light, like back into darkness coming past me, back into my body. And then I'm just like, I wake up and I'm laying on the kitchen floor, and all I can see is red, like everywhere. Like all I see is just like red everywhere. And like all these people are around me, and I'm like just coming to, and all these people are, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh my gosh, we thought you were dead. Like they're all concerned about me. And I just see red everywhere. And I think like, I just remember asking them like, am I bleeding? I thought I broke my arm, or I thought I was bleeding. I could see blood everywhere. I just saw red all over. And I'm like, am I bleeding? Like, what's going on? And they're like, no, you're not bleeding. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden the red went away. And and I just like, there's a strobe light. And that was the thing that gave me the seizure in the first place. So I see this strobe light like bumping, and I just like take it and I rip it out of the wall, like threw it across the room. And I think people were, trying to grab me and pick me up or help me. And I just didn't really understand. I'm punching everything like, oh, I'm back on this earth. Like, what's going on? Throw the strobe light. The lights were off. It was a party. I turned on the lights, and it was just no, great. When you're up there, there's nothing. I mean, I could sit here and my clothes right now are kind of uncomfortable. My hair is kind of in my face. Like, I don't want to be negative, but the reality is that it's not perfect on Earth. And there is a place where none of this exists. I mean, like, my leg might be sore right now. I might have to adjust my seating because, we get uncomfortable at times. My throat is kind of dry. I mean, I can go on. Just everything. Like, the light might be too bright in this eye. I could be wearing sunglasses. This sounds really stupid, but the fact of the matter is, life here, there is darkness here, and there is no perfection here. And to actually be able to believe or to know that there is a place where there is only good and there is no bad there. It almost doesn't really make sense. It doesn't, like, to us it doesn't, because we're from this earth, and on this earth we have good and we have evil. And the hard thing to realize is beyond this earth there is a place of all good and there is a place of all evil. And when we come to realize that, I think that's really important to help us get through this life, because we're only here for a small time. And, I mean, I'm like 25 now. So say I die at 70, if the world lasts that long, who knows? But if I died at maybe 70, 80, that's less than 50 years left on this planet. And then I have eternity somewhere else. So just keep that in mind. Even if you want to, like, for the simplicity of human beings, pretend we only live 1,000 years, which I know we don't, but pretend just for simplicity. If we're going to be thinking about, like, 50 fun years here, which, I mean, my whole life before was just, let's just say I was not part of the good crowd. I was part of the bad kids, partying all the time. Not bad kids, but just, getting into trouble, doing anything I wanted. Really doing, like, now I've learned these technical words, but doing, like, worldly things, and I've just realized that there's so much more to this planet than just that, and I'm grateful that God gave me the experience to be able to tell you guys this. And I'm not really a person that likes to share these things. If it was my way, I wouldn't say this at all. Like, I would actually just avoid this entire thing. And I wasn't going to tell anybody. I told people close to me, but I would never imagine making, like, a YouTube video. Like, I don't really, I'm kind of shy that way. I don't really need to share things with, well, the entire world, for that matter. But I just felt like this was a story that could help maybe even one person, like, hopefully at least one, realize that there is life beyond this life. And it's important that we realize that, pretend we even live 1,000 years, we live more than that, but for simplicity, that the 50 or so years that we live on this planet, I'm 20, so if I died at 70, 25, the 50 or so years, 70 years that we live on this planet is not worth eternity in somewhere that we do not belong. We belong in that beautiful place where we came from, with God, and doing things that we deserve to do. And, well, if our actions are right and stuff, but, we are born to come back home. And it is this feeling of home. When I went there, it was just like I was home. I didn't want to even come back. Well, I felt the need to, but I didn't want to. Anyways, this is just a cry for you guys to just wake up. Yeah. And another thing too is I wanted to mention, I didn't get to see anything past the light, but I've looked at other YouTube videos, and I'm going to post other people's if I can. I'm not sure if I can figure it out. I don't really use it, but I'm going to try to put other people's videos, because other people have went into the light where I've went, where they've had death experiences, but they went all the way like into heaven. Some people even went all the way into hell. So this is pretty interesting, and I think you guys, if you watch my video, try watching their videos, because it's probably better. Well, not better, but it will probably go more in depth about you know, life after death. So good luck, and thank you for listening. Oh, and this video goes out to God, not me. Thanks.
I have never been what I would call religious. I've always believed that there was a God, and I believed that there was Jesus, but I've had doubts. I've been a doubter before, but I'm no longer that. And this happened to me in 2005, so that was 6 years ago. And so how it came about was that I was on my way to Monterey. I go up there every year for the historic car races. While I was stopped at the stoplight, I had a pain that started in my jaw, right in the mandibular area, went down my jawbone, down my carotid artery, and into my chest. I said, "Whoa, this is strange." My friend and his wife said, "What's wrong with you? You don't look very good. What's your symptoms?" I said, "Well, my hands feel a little sweaty and I feel a little clammy." I said, "I don't know what's going on." He says, "I'm going to take you to the hospital." I said, "Oh, I'll be okay. I'll go home and take an aspirin. This will be done with." He says, "No, we're going right now." So we went in, and they put me on a gurney because there was no room in the emergency room. My blood pressure was extremely high, and they gave me a couple of shots right away to try and get my blood pressure down. And then I went right into the x-ray room, and they gave me some x-rays, and came back in a little while, and Steve, the doctor, a friend of mine, says, "You have a serious problem." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he says, "Yes." He says, "You have an aneurysm, but what's worse, it's split, and I think you're bleeding internally." 5 o'clock the next morning, I was in the the ready room, rather, at Cottage Hospital. Anesthesiologist came in and says, "Well, I'm going to, give you a shot right now, and then you're going to go off to sleep." I said, "Okay." I said, "Is the doctor here yet?" "Yeah, he's here." So I asked to see him. I said, "Okay, what are you guys going to do to me?" And he says, "What we have to do is cool you down to a real low temperature, and when we do that, it'll be just like chopping a hole in Lake Michigan in the ice in the middle of the winter. Everything's going to stop. Your brain's going to stop, and your heart will stop." I said, "Well, I've never heard of that before, and I read a lot." And he says, "We usually don't tell our patients what we're going to do to them, or else they'd run down the hall dragging the IV behind them." They told me when I went in that I'd have about a 50-50 chance of making it. I found out later with that kind of operation where they take your heart out, you have a 10% chance of survivability. So the anesthesiologist put the IV in. I went off to sleep right away, and they start rolling me down the hall to the operating room. And then I realized that I was still conscious and I wasn't under yet. It was like I was for a little bit, but then I was awake again. And I saw them roll me into the operating room. And so I wanted to tell the doctors that, "Hey, you got to give me some more of whatever it was you gave me, because I'm not out yet." But I couldn't speak. I didn't have any pain or anything like that. I just could not open my mouth and get the words out, even though I tried very hard to tell them that I was still conscious. So I'm laying on the table, and there are 3 doctors standing over me and 2 nurses, and they all have their gowns on, their masks on and everything. They're ready to go. And I heard the doctor ask the nurse for the scalpel, and she got it, and she started to open me up from right here down to here. He did. Opened me up like that, and then they got an electric saw out and started cutting my breastbone open. And then I saw them go down and start to take my heart out, and then everything went black. But I was still conscious, but I couldn't see anything. And it was like a heavy black fog, and I'm just standing there looking around. I couldn't figure out what to do next or what was going to happen next. Right then, 2 beams of light came over my right shoulder. So I started to turn around and look over my shoulder to see where it was coming from. And then I heard a voice. And the voice was very authoritative, not loud, but he says, "Don't turn around." And I'm thinking, well, why not? And he says, "Don't turn around, because if you see my face, you'll have to stay here." And he says, "Now, that'll be okay if you stay here, but I have a job for you. And if you disobey me, I won't be happy." And he says, "You don't want to see me unhappy." So I said, "Yeah, well, okay. I better pay attention and do what he says." And then I said, "You know, I know who you are." He said, "Oh, you do?" And I said, "Yeah." And all during this conversation, I had a feeling of where he was, that he was walking back and forth behind me, that he was sitting in a white throne, just a plain chair, didn't have jewels or anything on it, but just a plain white chair. And I could just feel that, and I don't know why. That's what I was feeling. The next thing that happened is he said, "Do you have any more questions before you leave?" I said, I said, I got to think about this. And I thought, I was thinking really hard, what am I going to ask God? Couldn't think of anything. I wanted to be really smart enough to ask him something very pertinent. And so I said, well, I'm going to have to revert to an old cliche. What's the meaning of life? And he starts laughing again. I said, what's so funny now? And he says, well, I don't know why, but a lot of people ask me that question. And it's really real simple. But I tell you what, when you come back, we'll sit down. You can ask me all the questions that you ever will have. I'll answer them for you. So I said, okay. He says, okay, it's time for you to go back. And I turned around. I'm sorry, but he put his arms around me. He put his arms around me. And it was a feeling that I can't explain. It was unconditional love, but it was words. I can't tell you the words. And I'm sorry, but I always act like this because I can feel it again. So, it changed my life. And the next thing I heard was the nurse was saying, I think he's ready to come out of it. His temperature's at 90 degrees. 9 days later, I was discharged from the hospital. First thing I wanted to do was go out and tell everybody I knew what happened to me. But I'll have to tell you that my life has changed completely. I'm no longer afraid of death. All the problems that I thought were problems are all gone. I don't have any problems. I don't have anything that gets me down. A week later, a guy came in that I knew, and he said, I heard about your experience. I said, yeah, it happened, He said, I heard that you were, you had a near-death experience and that you were out for about an hour. And I said, yeah, that's true. And he said, well, the same thing happened to me. I said, and then I asked him what the meaning of life was. He says, oh, that's easy. It's all about love. That was the perfect answer. So I got that message right away. Now I study the Bible, and it's taken me a long time. I've been doing it for 6 years. I'm up to Matthew. I've translated every word from the original manuscripts into English. I was baptized recently. People ask me questions about that. Well, why are you getting baptized now? And I said, because it's the right time. You know, I don't know what else to tell them. I don't believe that you have to be baptized to go to heaven, but I know one thing. I want to follow what Jesus did. He set an example. I want to, so I did.
And while I was in a coma, I had like an out-of-body, near-death experience. And it was really strange. I mean, I ended up in this really, really dark place, and it was really, really dark, but you could see like other people wandering around and just wandering, quite lost. And I tried talking to them. I was asking them, where am I? But none of them would answer back. It was terrifying because you just felt this feeling of loss and just horrible and dread, and it was just a horrible feeling. It was horrible. In the next step of it, I ended up in this like waiting room. It was a bit like it was a waiting room, but there was music playing and there was people dancing, and then there was also loads of seats and there was people sat down, but all the people sat down were like really weird. They were really deformed. There was 2 guys there that had, I remember them so clearly, but they had like their foreheads stuck together like that. And there was other people as well. There was like a couple that were deformed as well, and they were like doing things and like rude things, and they wanted me to join in with them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, where am I? This is horrible. And there was all these other deformed people, and they were all trying to touch you, and it was just horrible. And I was like in the hospital bed in this waiting room, when all these other people were sat on chairs. There was people dancing, and then the man appeared. He had black trousers on and a navy blue shirt, buttons down. And he basically wouldn't leave me alone. He was all over me like a rash, touching me, stroking me, playing on my hair. He was talking to me. He was saying to me that I had to go with him. I had to go to sleep. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's time to go to sleep now forever. He also gave me, he kept offering me alcohol and fancy glasses, like cocktail glasses sort of things, you know, the ones with the stem, the little, I don't know, the little tiny cocktail, I don't know what you have, they're just really fancy. Kept offering me alcohol, and I can remember being really, really thirsty and having a sip of this alcohol, and it was just disgusting, and I spat it out. And then he gave me this rose, and it was a really, 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 really dark red, almost purple rose. I've never seen one that dark before. And he gave me a rose, and he was just telling me I needed to go with him, I needed to go to sleep forever. I had another guy come up to me as well. He had blonde hair, Afro-Caribbean, like bleached. And he said to me, look, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, can you get this man away from me? Who is he? I don't know what he wants. He's telling me I've got to go with him. Tell him to go away. He's scaring me. Anyway, he did, and that man did disappear in the end. He was just vanished. And I did say, actually, before that as well, when he was saying to me, come with me, to go to sleep, I did say, no, go away, leave me alone. I did say that. Anyway, and then all of a sudden a window appeared in front of me, like a big rectangle window, and it was just glowing, like really glowing out bright, and I had to get into that room. Anyway, I did get into that room in the end, and then I must have not long after that woke up from the coma, and immediately after I'd sort of like recovered a little, I started looking for the rose. My family was sat around my bed, and they were just like, what are you looking for, Dan? You know, what are you looking for? I said, well, this man gave me a rose. I was like, what? What are you on about? You've been in a coma for like 2 weeks. I said, no, it was the other night. He gave me this rose. It's really dark. I need to find it now. And they was like, no, you haven't. When was this? So I said the exact time, the exact day. And they were all like, like that, really horrified. And I said, why, what's wrong? And they said, oh, that was the time that the doctors said that you were dying, that they wanted to gather all the family and friends to say their final goodbyes because there was no way you was going to make it. So it was actually a bit of a miracle then, because there was no one was going to make it. But at the time when I was really sick as well and in the coma, I had a whole church praying for me, and I'm really thankful for that, because I think them praying for me was what saved me, because all the doctors were just dumbfounded. I should have died. It was a miracle. But after that, I became a born-again Christian at the church that was praying for me. But again, in 2011, I got really ill again. And the same thing, liver failure, only it was a lot worse. And again, I was put into a coma. Only this time I had a bit of a different experience. I actually, my soul left my body. That's the only way I can say it, because I saw myself led in a hospital bed. I was way up high, and I was looking down on myself thinking, oh, what am I doing down there? You know, what am I doing? Oh, I look really peaceful. And I did. I looked so peaceful, like I was just sleeping. And I didn't have any like wires or monitors or breathing equipment, nothing at all. And when I looked at myself, everything, absolutely everything, like my gown, the floor, the bedding on the, you know, the sheets and the blankets on the hospital bed were just glowing this white, really, really, really glowing, really glowing, white, really glowing. And but in reality, the gown I was wearing was actually blue. It had a little tiny white thin collar, that was about it. The blankets on the hospital bed was blue as well, and quite a dark blue, not a light blue, a dark blue. And the floor, if I can remember, was like a dark green in there. So that was weird. I was looking down on myself. Oh, and also I was covered in, you know, I had a life support machine on, so as you can imagine, I was covered with wires and breathing tubes and monitors and drips and all sorts everywhere. What a mess. I must have looked a right mess, but when I saw myself, I never saw any of that. But in reality, I was covered in it all, so that was strange. But no, this is the amazing part, which just is absolutely amazing. But when I was up there, I wasn't alone. I wasn't alone. There was someone with me, and I couldn't see them, like I couldn't see facial features or nothing like that. This person was just bright white, glowing, like really glowing. Like when you look at the sun and it's really, really bright, you know, when it's really bright and it hurts your eyes, doesn't it? It hurts your eyes. Well, it was like that, apart from you could look at him. You could look right at him, and it did not hurt your eyes whatsoever. And the feeling I had, oh, it was just amazing. It was just a feeling of pure love, like love I've never felt before. It was so powerful. I knew this person loved me like more than anyone else has ever loved me, even family, even my own parents, anybody. I've never felt love like that ever. It was so strong and so powerful. And the other one was, I felt peace, such peace, and I felt safe, like I was protected. This person was awesome. He was amazing. I did not want to leave this person. I wanted to stay with this person. I did not want to come back. I wanted to stay where I was, because it was just so beautiful and it was so peaceful, and I felt so happy. We did speak to each other, but it was through telepathically, through our minds, and we was going backwards and forwards. I was saying to him, please don't let me go back. I want to stay with you. I wish I knew what he said back, but I don't. But we were speaking. I can remember it. But that person, I really do believe it was Jesus himself, because I've never known anything like it before. It was just so powerful. It was wonderful, and I just wanted to let people know out there. I know there's other amazing heaven and hell testimonies where people see more. When I saw hell, it was just weird things and just dark and just a feeling of despair and lost and where am I and all that sort of just, it was horrible, a horrible place. And I do believe it was a part of hell. I don't believe I saw all of hell. It was just a section of hell that I went to. I don't know which part, but it was. And I believe as well that I only went to the second time. When I saw Jesus, I think I was in a part of heaven, but I didn't see no golden city or nothing like that. It was just, everything was just white. It was almost like being up in the sky. It was just amazing. But anyway, that's all I want to say, is that hell is real, and I don't like to say that because it's scary as anything, but it is real. It's real that we don't just die and that's it. We go somewhere else, and hell is real. and so is heaven. Heaven is real also, and Jesus is real. The guy that was telling me to go with him to sleep now, to sleep forever, I don't know who he was. I don't know if he was the devil himself or maybe one of his little minions. I don't know who he was, but he was horrible, and he just was really creepy and all over me like a rash and wanted me to go with him to sleep forever. I mean, who is that? Who would do that? I really do believe it's him. I feel like I've rushed this a bit, but I've had to because I don't know how to make a video longer than 15 minutes. I did a video, it was 20 odd minutes, and it would not upload onto YouTube, so I've made this as quick as possible, and I hope I've got it all out there. But it's just a warning to people, you know, just please, you don't just die and that's it. I don't care what anyone says. There is somewhere you go after, and it's heaven or it's hell. So please, you know, make yourself right with Christ, with Jesus, because he loves you all. He loves every single one of you, all of you, even you non-believers, Muslims, everyone. He loves all of you, and he does not want us going to hell. He doesn't want us to go there. But we have to make that decision ourselves. It's not up to him, it's up to us. We make that decision ourselves. So please let him into your heart. Please pray for forgiveness of all your sins and repent sins and try and move away from them sins. It is hard, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not perfect and I'm still fighting a battle now, but I've improved a great deal, loads. I mean, ever since I found Christ, I used to suffer with serious depression. I've got bipolar and I used to have suicidal thoughts nearly daily. But when I found Christ, all that went. It's all gone. He is amazing and he loves us all, and please, please, please everyone, this is a warning to you all that there is somewhere you go. I love you all. I don't care whether you're where you're from, anywhere, what religion you are, what colour skin you've got. I love you all and I care about you all, and this is why I'm doing this video, to warn you all that there is somewhere you go after death. It doesn't just end when you die. There is another place you go to. Your soul goes elsewhere. It is real, 100% real, I promise you. Because I was there myself. I saw, you know, both things. I'm glad I've got Jesus in my life now, because my life has changed for the better. I actually feel happy and I feel at peace, which I never thought I'd feel. Right, I'm going to end it there. Hope you like my video. Comment at the bottom. Please be nice. It's my first video. I'm very nervous, so keep it nice if you can. I know I look a bit of a state and my voice. I hate my recording voice, but well, there you go. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you like my video, and I wish you all God bless. And I just want to say right now, thank you to Jesus for saving my life twice, because I believe he did. The first time the church was praying for me and I did enter a light, that was something to do with Jesus. I was dying, I'm a miracle. By the way, the second time round I actually had to have a liver transplant because I was actually dying again, and I've had a liver transplant now. I'm doing okay. I'm on a lot of medication which makes me ill sometimes, but I'm doing all right. And you know, since like reading my Bible and praying, I pray daily for everyone, and you know, I just feel so much happier. I never thought I'd feel happy ever again, because I've just suffered from depression for so long, but I do. I'm just so much more happier, and I feel so much more peace. I'm a lot calmer. I'm a different person. But anyway, I wish you all the best. God bless to you all. And comment at the bottom, but please be nice, because I'm really nervous and I hate my recording voice. Probably sound awful, probably look awful, but just please be nice. This is just a warning. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I just want people to know. I feel like I need to tell you this. I feel like when Jesus came to me, he wanted me to get this message out there, to tell people he was real. He wants people knowing he's real. You know, the devil will trick you. He will lie to you. He will make you think there's no hell. The devil plays with your mind. So does his little demon things. They play with your mind. They'll make you think that hell's not real. The devil's not real. This ain't real. That ain't real. The devil is real. Demons are real. In the Bible, the New Testimony, Jesus casted out many demons. They are real. It's in there. Have a look for yourself. If you don't believe me, it is in there. That he casted out many demons. Demons are real, for real. And I've seen some myself, not dark shadow things, horrible, but there you go. They've gone now, because I prayed for Jesus to remove them, and they've gone. There you go. So how can he not be real when my prayers have been answered? I'm just warning everybody out there. You know, just want to get this message across, because I do care about you all. Okay, well, thank you. God bless all of you. Bye. Thank you for listening.